All right, so I started working on this Craftsman Snowblower without videoing it. I just wanted to get it done, but it wouldn't start. So I decided to start tearing apart the carburetor and the fuel system. And let me show you what I found. That's one season just sitting in the bottom of the bowl of the carburetor. I drained the gas out already and got the carburetor off. Came off pretty easy. Got to take off all the plastic. I'll kind of show you when I put it back together. Took the bowl off, and now I'm pulling the jet out in there because that's going to be clogged. You can see all the garbage on there. Got my can of carb cleaner and all the miscellaneous parts sitting on the floor. So this should fix it. I gotta finish taking out that center jet in there and clean out the little ports in there with my torch file set right there. So I don't want to make them bigger. I just take a real small one in there. And if you work on small engines, you have to have one of these. They're cheap. You can buy them in bulk, and they're a whole bunch of little files. There we go. Whole bunch of little files. And that helps clean out the little tiny ports inside carburetors. So you just gotta be careful not to make them bigger because they are files and the carburetors are aluminum. Well, anyways, let me set the camera up. I'm gonna finish taking this apart, spray it, clean it all up, and then I will put it back together. I'll video it putting it back together. I don't know if you can see how small those little holes are. So there's 6 that go right through on there. And then there's 5 that go right through both sides there. And then you got the bigger ones up here. And then you got the hole that goes through the middle. And then you actually have this one here that has a hole right down the middle also. So the littlest things can clog these, and this affects your idle and your surging. So little carb cleaner, and like I said, I take the smallest file on a torch set. Super skinny here. And the tip of this file here does not have any grit to it. So on these little ones, you don't want to open them up. You want to just keep it the same size. So stick it in just a little bit, and then, but if you go down farther, you got to be careful. That's where the filing part is, and you can make the holes bigger. So when in doubt, you just stick it right there. Just a tip, and you can clean them out. Like I said, this littlest thing can clog these, and then just spray it off with carb cleaner. And now we start putting it back together. right, there we go. Well, it started right up once I got the fuel in there, primed it a couple times, pulled it, and it started. Didn't even need electric start. So there was still a little bit of crud in that carburetor. I didn't really go through the entire carburetor cleaning it, but I got 99%, I'd say 95% of it. The rest of it should come out when I run it. So I'm gonna get this outside and let it run for about 5 minutes at full throttle outside, and that should be good to go. So that's a Craftsman 24-inch, I'm not sure what size engine. It's probably like a 6 horsepower low Tecumseh engine down there. And it's good to go. It was surging. It wouldn't even actually start before it was, once I got it started, it was just way surging. I wish I videoed it, but I didn't. I was just gonna crank this one out and get it done without videoing it. It takes a little bit longer when I video it, but once I got it apart, I was like, you know what, might as well show you what it looks like inside. Hope that helps a little bit. Always use fuel stabilizer in your fuel and never leave them outside when you're not using them. And if you do, cover the engine. Take a garbage bag after it's cooled off or whatever. What I do is I take a garbage bag and I cover the engine itself, and then I put like a piece of plywood on top of it. That's what these 2x2 pieces of plywood are for. So once I put a garbage bag on it, I'll put something like that on top of it. So it's just an extra deterrent from the weather, the rain and the snow getting into that engine and into the fuel system. And the other secret is always keep your fuel tanks full. If you keep your fuel tanks full of fuel, which I learned the hard way, if you keep it low, let's say your fuel's down here, and then you're just gonna fill it up when you're getting ready to use it. Well, all this air has condensation in it. That condensation will condense up against the wall, especially in a metal gas tank. Plastic, I'm sure it does the same to some degree, but with the temperature changes, it'll condensate up against the fuel tank walls, and then that adds a moisture. Then you fill it up, and now you're mixing water into the water from that air that was in the tank, now into the fuel. So always, when you're done, fill it up before you put them away, and always use some kind of fuel stabilizer, especially for snowblowers, because we can go a month without a snowstorm. We can go 2 months without a snowstorm. You never know when the first one is or the last one. And it's not that expensive. It's a good cost preventative thing to help. And we're good to go. So this one's done. I'm gonna get this one outside idling. And I got this other large Craftsman with a 9 horsepower an oldie but goodie commercial grade one that I'm gonna start tinkering with. So thanks for watching.